Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision and much more. Grab yourselves a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip and let's dive into this. Let's talk about my ridiculously early predictions for the 2027 Oscars. So we're briefly going to go through the films and the actors that I believe will going to be major awards players, and at the end of the video I'm going to give you my ridiculously early predictions for the 2027 Oscars in the top categories, which are picture, actor, actress, supporting actor and supporting actress. So, Best Picture. I have The Odyssey at number 1, obviously. How couldn't I? It's Christopher Nolan's follow-up to his awards juggernaut, Oppenheimer, and it has an insane cast and lots of below-the-line prospects. I mean, it could be an Interstellar sort of situation where it's a smash hit with the audience and it's a quote-unquote normie masterpiece, and I love that film, but it wasn't critically as acclaimed as it's right now hailed to be. So The Odyssey could get in a bunch of technical categories and it could win a bunch of these, but it might miss out on the top major categories like picture, director, adapted screenplay and the acting categories. So it could go either way, but I do have a hunch that it's going to be, of course, a major hit at the box office, and I mean the audience is definitely, I mean, it looks like it's going to be an audience-friendly film, and if the critics get behind it as well, I could see a second director win for Christopher Nolan. I mean, if Alejandro G. Iñárritu could win 2 years in a row for Birdman and The Revenant, then I think that Christopher Nolan can pull off a second victory, even though Oppenheimer just happened and it was big. He's a director that feels like he should have at least 2 Oscars, and The Odyssey could be another Oscar vehicle for him, and I have lots of faith about it, but of course it's only April and we've had one major awards or film that a wide release of a film that might just be an awards player, and everything that I say in this video is 100%, almost 100% speculative. There is no evidence here, so bear with me as I ramble about vibes and everything that I assume will be present at the next year's ceremony. Digger is the latest film from Alejandro G. Iñárritu. Speaking of Iñárritu, this could be an awards contender, definitely. It has a prestige director behind it. It has had a really cool teaser trailer and definitely major prospect in the best actor category. I mean, it stars Tom Cruise in a lot of makeup in a transformative baity role. I mean, if that doesn't read as Oscar bait to you, I don't know what does. And it has lots of technical below the line category prospects like cinematography. It's shot by Emmanuel Zavlaris. It could get in production design, editing, score, etc., and it could get in 1 or 2 supporting categories as well. So on paper it does look like it's going to be an awards contender and could sneak in picture. It could also be a flop, the same way that Bardo was a few years back, where it, I believe, got a lone cinematography nomination, which was cool. The cinematography was lovely, fine in that, but the film was not one of his better films, and it ultimately didn't pan out, and despite being a Netflix film at that. So it could go either way, but right now I do have it in because, I mean, if it's at least 50%, I'm at least 50% sure that it's getting in, it's better than below 50%, if that makes sense. So yes, I have it in. And then number 3, I have Project Hail Mary, which is the only one of those films that I have watched and that has had a major wide release, and I think it's excellent. It's my favorite film of 2026 thus far. I mean, not lots of competition there, but I really took on Project Hail Mary, and I saw it on an IMAX screen, and it was really beautiful. And yes, I think that it checks a lot of boxes when it comes to Best Picture contenders. It has lots of technical prospects. It has a Best Actor, possibly contending in the acting categories. Maybe 2. It might get 2 acting nominations, which we'll get into later. It has an enormous box office appeal. It was huge at box office. It's a crowd pleaser. It's a blockbuster. I mean, there are going to be a few blockbusters here. Again, we were talking last year about Avatar Fire and Ash and Wicked for Good getting in picture, assuming that there are going to be a few blockbusters in the field, and we did have one, and that was F1. And this could be an F1. I mean, if Sinners got 16 nominations, broke the record, and that came out in April, I can't see why Project Hail Mary can't fit it in a field of 10 in Best Picture. And yes, I think that it's going to be an Normie's fan favorite, and I think that it's easily getting, well, yes, mostly I believe that I'll give it 85% or 90% that it's getting in, and that's good enough for me. So number 4, I think, yes, we have Wild Horse 9, which is Martin McDonagh's new film. Martin McDonagh's last 2 movies got in a bunch of categories, and I don't see it being a director player, but I can see it being a screenplay player, and it's definitely going to get a bunch of acting categories, and maybe an editing nomination, score. I mean, it has casting, it has a few prospects in the below the line categories as well. So from the trailer, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, and we do need some more light-hearted films in the Best Picture lineup, and this could be the one. So number 5, we have Fatherland, which is going to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Very, very promising, because the Cannes Film Festival is maybe almost to an infamous degree famous for being a really prestige festival that promotes very sophisticated and prestige filmmakers, and a lot of the Palme winners and films that were at competition at Cannes ended up getting a bunch of Oscar nominations. I mean, Sentimental Value comes to mind. It was Just an Accident, didn't get that many at the end there, but it was in contention for quite a few. And I mean, Anora won Best Picture and Best Actress and Director. So yes, I mean, when it comes to the Cannes Film Festival, there are definitely going to be a few films that the Oscars are going to choose from that pool. So Fatherland is one of the more prestigious one, I would say, this director being a previous nominee and starring Sandra Hüller. It's a period biopic. I mean, it's a no-brainer when it comes to Oscar baity Cannes prestige movie, and yeah, that's why it's in my top 5. And then at number 6, for the exact same reasons almost, I have Fjord, which is a film by a Romanian filmmaker, and it stars Sebastian Stan, who is half Romanian, right? And he is also a previous Oscar nominee, as is his co-star Renata Reinsva, who got in last year for Sentimental Value. And this being a Cannes film, yes, it's almost a no-brainer. It reads Oscar contender all over it. I mean, I can see it could be the Sentimental Value of this year, and I would not be surprised by it. So yes, I have enough evidence to have it at my 10 comfortably there. Number 7, I have Narnia, because yes, it's a Narnia movie, but it's also a Greta Gerwig movie, if you didn't notice, and all of her 3 films have got in picture and a bunch of acting categories, which we'll get into about Narnia being an acting contender as well. And I mean, if Barbie can be considered an awards film, then I think Narnia can easily pull off it could be one of the few blockbusters that gets in. And that's all I'm going to say. It also has a major push from Netflix. They're great at campaigning films to get. Yeah. It's on paper. It's very much so an Oscars. Well, an atypically Oscars film, which is very typically an Oscars film as of late. So at number 8, I have Dune Part 3. I'm extremely hesitant about putting it in, and I did previously have another film at its place, but I had to include the third Dune film because sure, it might get just a few categories and mostly below the line. It could also be this year's Wicked for Good and get 0 nominations, which would be wild, but I can definitely see it. I mean, I even tweeted about it. So, but in the field of 10, and again, it's a blockbuster, it's going to do very well at the box office, and I know that the second one, the previous one, barely got in, and I mean, even if it was considered better than the first one did much better at the Oscars, so there's that diminishing effect that, for instance, a movie like Avatar Fire and Ash had. So it could really be an Oscars fiasco, but again, in the field of 10, and because I just have to include it, it's also in December. It has a December release date, which the previous film didn't have. It had a February release date, and I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, all 3 films got in. I'm not suggesting that this is going to be a contender the way that The Return of the King was. I'm not suggesting that in any way, and I really do believe that it's not going to be turned out for them in that way. But I don't know, it could be. I mean, I've heard that it's sort of an epilogue of the trilogy and a feature-length epilogue, which gives major Joker Folie à Deux vibes, which is not good. It's a major red flag. There are lots of red flags surrounding this movie when it comes to its awards potential, but still I have it at number 8. And then at number 9 I have the latest film from a Japanese director whose name I can't pronounce or recall at this moment, but he made Drive My Car, which got him a Best Director nomination, and I'm pretty sure it got in picture and screenplay as well. So this one being a film of similar scope, I mean, it's another 3-hour long drama, very dialogue heavy, definitely a screenplay prospect there. It could get picture, as I'm talking about right now, and it has also major acting prospects when it comes to the 2 leads, that one of them is going to probably be frauded at supporting category, but that's how it goes. sometimes. So yes, I think that All of a Sudden, which is the film's title, is going to sneak in there. I mean, I don't have another reason not to. We have to include some international films. It also has Cannes Prestige from the Cannes Film Festival, and hey, I think that it does read as one of those international films that might not get 9 Oscar nominations like Sentimental Value, but it might get picture, director, well, maybe not director, but picture, screenplay, 2 acting categories, and international feature, and that's a fair package right there. So yes, I have All of a Sudden at number 9, and at number 10, I have a film that I'm very hesitant on including in this lineup, but it's Michael, and I'm a few days away from watching Michael. I have seen the dangerously low critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I really don't take that much into that. I mean, it should be a gigantic red flag, as a lot of the behind the scenes when it comes to this film being re-edited and reshapen and all of that delayed, those all should be red flags. And I mean, with Project Hail Mary and Narnia clearly being the 2 blockbusters that are pushing for Best Picture nominations, and already having Dune 3 squeezing in, which I'm not very confident about either, Michael seems like a film that I should definitely not include in my 10, and yet I still do, because there's something about it that reads as, I mean, it could be an audience hit. I'm seeing a major box office return. I'm seeing lots of acclaim from audiences. I'm seeing lots of acting prospects and technical prospects, and I mean, I know that the Bruce Springsteen biopic didn't do very well. It got 0 nominations, but that was a much quieter film. It wasn't as much of a blockbuster, and we shouldn't have assumed that it would have been such a major contender. This Michael being more in the same vein as A Complete Unknown, for instance, which did extremely well at the Oscars, even got in director, which Elvis, which was also a major Oscars film, didn't. So, and yes, Michael, I think, is more in that league of films, and those did well. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody did well. So yes, for now I have it in, and yes, in a field of 10, we can have a film like F1 squeezing in, even though most people are like, huh, why did that have to get in Best Picture? So those are my 10. Let's talk briefly about some other films that I was on the cusp of putting in but didn't. The Social Reckoning is the new Aaron Sorkin film. Now, I believe I haven't seen an Aaron Sorkin film, but he's a very acclaimed screenwriter, not a director, not a very well acclaimed director. I mean, his films have had awards success. I mean, they did get in a bunch of even above the line categories, but there's something about this one that just has me, I mean, in my gut, I feel like it's going to be a flop for some odd reason. I mean, there is something about it being a spiritual sequel or whatever that means to the Social Network, David Fincher's acclaimed film, and there's something about it that, I mean, it reminds me of Jay Kelly. Remember Jay Kelly? We were like, oh, it could get like a lone score nomination. It's Alexander Desplat who made a comeback last year with Frankenstein, and oh, it could get a screenplay or lone acting or be the yes, have an apprentice sort of actress and supporting actor coattail, and that's it. That hesitance is what has me barely not including it in my final 10. So the Social Reckoning could happen, definitely could be an awards contender, but right now I don't have it in. Cry to Heaven is Tom Ford's latest film. Both of his previous films got in at the Oscars in lone acting category. This could be his moment, you know, where the film gets in picture, director, screenplay, and lots of acting categories and below the line categories. I mean, the plot description indicates that it's going to have extraordinary technical aspects, and the roles, they're supposed to be very baity. I mean, read the synopsis or whatever of the book that it's based on. It's really interesting and disturbing, and I'm really eager to watching it. The problem is that it hasn't been confirmed that it's going to come out in 2026, and I much prefer to be wrong about a film that they genuinely do look like awards contenders, even though I know for a fact that not all of these are going to be correct, than predict a film that ends up not being part of 2026. That would be much more anticlimactic to me, so I couldn't have fitted it in. So yes. And number 13, I have Josephine. Could get lots, not lots, but a few categories. The studio, and it's too small. I mean, it did have very good reviews from Sundance, and I'm definitely keeping an eye on it, but not right now. Being Human is the new film from the director of Coda, and it also seems like a very humanitarian-driven film. Hence the title. Could get in acting categories, just couldn't fit it in. I have Mouse, which I did have in my 10 for a while, and then realized that it's way too small, and I believe doesn't have a distributor yet. I mean, if Searchlight got it, for instance, or another major studio, and gave it a real push there, like Focus Features, I believe, did for, or A24 did for Past Lives, it could be that situation there, because it has had rave reviews from the Berlin Festival. But I just can't do it right now. And then the Jesse Eisenberg musical, not biopic, musical, comedy musical film could get in some categories, but picture, And then The Invite is Olivia Wilde's film, could get in, but I don't have a very good reason of fitting it in, but it's on my radar. Jack of Spades is the new film from Joel Cohen. It's a period film. Could it not get come out in 26? It could, but it's worth mentioning. The Wait, it's an Ethan Hawke film, and it's from a director. It looks very awards baity, and I just don't want to overlook it. I really do want to emphasize how much I think that it could be a breakout film in picture and screenplay and director, but I just don't have it in right now. It has had distribution though. And then I have A Place in Hell. It's a film that could just get 1 or 2 acting categories. I mean, we can have Michelle Williams as a lone actress nominee. And then I have Disclosure Day, which is Steven Spielberg's latest science fiction film. I mean, can you... Okay, I'm going to have my Steven Spielberg fanboy moment right here. It's a new Steven Spielberg film. That alone is enough for me to get me really excited. But it's a sci-fi film. It has David Koepp as the screenwriter. it has John freaking Williams doing the score. I mean, on paper this should be just it's going to be such a bliss in the theater. From the trailers, it just doesn't look that good, to be completely honest. I mean, I have to, even though I love Steven Spielberg and all of those people and crew and actors, there's something about it that seems a little bit subpar, something about it visually, or there's something off about those trailers, and I really hope that it's just poorly edited trailers and the movies might turn out to be awesome. We don't know. And then the Rivals of Isaiah King, this would have been a really, I think, big awards player if it had come out last year. Then nobody got distribution, and then it just faded, and now Black Bear Studios have picked up its release and campaign, and they're going to release it in August, I believe. That's all too much to overcome, but I definitely have to keep an eye on it. And then Saturn Return is the new film from the director and screenwriter of one of the creators behind Sing Sing and Train Dreams, the latter getting in at picture and screenplay, and Sing Sing almost getting in at picture. I bet you it was number 11 there, or it could have been September 5 or Ariel Payne but those three films were floating at 11th place back in 2024, I believe. So Saturn Return definitely does have prestige. Well, not that much. I mean, it's a Netflix film and definitely worth mentioning. And then I Love Boosters. I know that it has been said that it has sort of died because it premiered at Sundance, I believe, and got a lot of acclaim. But does it have the legs to end up being on the final 10? Do you know what? Did we all predict Train Dreams to get in at picture, or Ariel Payne winning an acting category and getting in screenplay? I don't think we did. I really do believe we didn't. So again, knowing something about the movie, it's better than knowing nothing, like Jack of Spades. I mean, what do we know about Jack of Spades? Oh, it's Joel Cohen and it has its period film. That's it. But I Love Boosters, people have watched it, people have loved it, and I hopped on the Train Dreams prediction train, no pun intended, fairly early. I really did think that it would squeeze in the final 10, and it did, so I'm not counting out possible Sundance breakout films and performances, so sure. And then Tony, I don't know that much about it. I've heard that it's a competent director that's helming it, and it's sort of a biopic or something. It's A24 distributing it, which is good, and that's all I know about it. And then Paper Tiger is the new James Gray film. Could do well. Hope is a Korean genre film. Now that on paper is an awards sort of gigantic red flag, because no other choice was snubbed and lots of other Korean films. This could be an exception there. And then I have Artificial, which is the latest Luca Guadagnino film. So the new rule in this channel is, if we have a Luca Guadagnino film, we should not predict it. It's instant red flag. But at the same time, we could all be seeing this as a red flag, and then it just gets in. So you never know. You just never know. It's just that his last three films were completely omitted from the Oscars, which they shouldn't. But I mean, I've seen 2 out of those 3, and I liked After the Hunt more than Queer. I had my issues with Queer, but After the Hunt I think should have gotten in 1, 2, 5 or more categories. including visual effects. Look it up. It actually has lots of invisible visual effects. And then I have Pressure, which I just talked about. It could be this year's Nuremberg. Could it be this year's Nuremberg? Very easily. But I'm saying that because it's a period film, a world war piece, and it could really just blank at the Oscars, but it could also do very well, so you never know, and it's worth having on my 30, which is barely in, but hey, it's in my list. The Riders is Edward Berger's latest film. I mean, his last film wasn't very much so at all an awards player. His movie, The Ballad of a Small Player, I believe, or something along those lines. But hey, it's worth having in. It's A24 and has Brad Pitt starring. It could be something. And then The Dog Stars, 20th Century Fox distributing it, Ridley Scott directing. I'm so excited about this. It has Jacob Elordi in the cast, and it could be a film that breaks out, perhaps, and gets a screenplay nomination. And then Clara and the Sun is the latest Taika Waititi film. I believe I read somewhere that it has had distribution, or it's coming out in 2026, and then heard nothing about it ever since, so I just have it in barely, but still could be one worth looking out for. And then Minotaur is a movie film. It's the the latest film from the director of Loveless and The Return and Leviathan, which I've watched and really didn't really respond to that. But Minotaur could be another international films that from the Cannes Film Festival that could get a small but very good package of nominations. And finally, Queen at Sea. It's a film that has not had studio picking it up yet, which is worrisome, but has major Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress prospects, and it could be really good, and it could sneak it at picture. So my ridiculously early Oscar predictions for Best Picture is The Odyssey, Digger, Project Hail Mary, Wild Horse 9, Fatherland, Fjord, Narnia, Dune Part 3, All of a Sudden, and Michael. Let's get to Best Actress now. I have Michelle Williams at number 1 for A Place in Hell. Could it be Nicole Kidman at Baby Girl? For Baby Girl, could it be Amy Adams for Night Beach? It could be all of these, but I mean, it's worth having her in, and if she's in, she's definitely winning. I mean, she's so overdue for a win. She has had an incredible streak of nominations, and we just have to get her a win. And it also could be Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs at QQ, which did get in, but obviously didn't win because that was Jessie Buckley's year. So yes, I have Michelle Williams in at first, and then I have Sandra Hüller. I'm having her for Rose. I mean, she could get in for Fatherland, but there's something about her role in Rose which has come out, contrasting Fatherland, which has not come out. But Rose is out. It premiered at Berlin, and she has already won an award for that at Berlin, and her role is a woman who dresses up as a man during the World War II for sort of as a disguise, and it's surrounding around this topic. And I mean, doesn't that sound like an Oscar baity role? I mean, it definitely does to me. And Fatherland could just be a picture, screenplay, and a couple technical and international feature category player, and not get in actress or actor. So Rose, it's a safer bet, and Sandra Hüller has to get 1 or 2 acting nominations next year because she's in 4 major contenders, and she just has to get 1 or 2 nominations. And then I have Julianne Moore at third place. She could get in and coattail Paul Giamatti for Jesse Eisenberg's latest film. Could happen, could definitely happen. She's sort of the veteran actress, and she's already won an Oscar, and she could get nominated again and even win a second one. But it's all too speculative, and I seriously don't have that much faith in Jesse Eisenberg's film. I do have her in though, and then I have Virginie Efira for All of a Sudden. As I said, I think All of a Sudden might get 2 acting nominations, and it seems like a very meaty role. And sure, I also have to include a few actors that have never been nominated, and Virginie Efira is a very alluring pick. And then I'm not at number 5, call me insane, I have Rinko Kikuchi for Ha-chan Shake Your Booty. Now, is that title really ridiculous? Is this an early Sundance film that didn't have very good reviews but had very good reviews for the actress and people saying that she's the best part of it? Does that description remind you of a film that got a lone acting nomination in Best Actress last year? Yes, Rose Byrne got in last year for a film that wasn't particularly liked, but she was very much so liked, and I mean she had a much better career, has had much more of a narrative than Rinko Kikuchi had. But I don't care. Has the film come out in a festival? Did people like her in it? And I believe yes, both. And it's a sequiny performance, and we do need those sequiny performances. I mean, I know that Kate Hudson had obviously another narrative, a much greater narrative, and it was all about that, her nomination. But it was also a sequiny performance, and we have to have those every year, and I like taking some risks, so I do have her at number 5. And then Juliette Binoche, already talked about her briefly, and she's going to have a very meaty role at Queen at Sea. And then number 7, I have Mikey Madison, similar to Renata Reinsva, who I have a little bit lower. There's not that much worry about their respective films that it's not the films that I'm worried that are not going to be major contenders. Well, maybe except for The Social Network. But it's the fact that it's recency bias, and we have seen times and times again where we just predict very, very recent nominees just because they're in a semi-prestigious film, and I just can't buy into that. I can't see Mikey Madison or Renata Reinsva being two-time Oscar nominees in such a brief period of time. I mean, Mikey Madison did win. She's the more probable, but Renata Reinsva, say whatever you want, she got in everywhere except for SAG, but her nomination wasn't really that secure in my opinion, and let's all be honest about that. It was her nomination was also the win. She didn't have nearly as much screen time in Sentimental Value. It was sort of, she did end up making it in, she made it, and that's really cool, and she gave a fine performance in that, but it wasn't secure, and her getting in a second year for Fjord could happen, definitely. I'm not writing her off completely, but I'm just not buying the recency bias thing. And then I have Ruth Madeley for Being Human. Coda did very well, won Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, and her being not a previously nominated actress, that sort of makes me even more compelled to predict her, and she could get her in without even her movie getting in. And also she's a disabled person, and the film is all about the disabled community, and that could be a beautiful nomination there. So definitely keeping an eye. She's on my radar. She's just on my radar. And then Meryl Streep, The Devil Wears Prada 2. I know it's ridiculous. I know that it's so hypocritical of me saying that Dune Part 3 might get 0 nominations, and really emphasizing on the true fiasco that Wicked for Good was. And then I have Meryl Streep as a contender, possibly. And my argument to that is that The Devil Wears Prada 2 isn't a sequel the way that Dune Part 3 or even Wicked for Good is, in that it's many years later, after the first was released, and Wicked for Good was filmed back to back, and it was really close and to the previous film, and that definitely was a part of all of its omissions. But Meryl Streep could actually pull off, I think, a Kate Blanchett in the Queen Elizabeth, the Elizabeth sequel, the Golden Age or whatever. She got in for that, if you believe it or not. Haven't seen either films, but could Meryl Streep? I mean, it's Meryl Streep. It's not Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande. It's Meryl freaking Streep. They're going to nominate her for any given opportunity. And The Devil Wears Prada 2, what do I see? I see box office success. I see a major summer release that could have the legs to stay on the zeitgeist and could be a phenomenon. And I mean, yes, it's such a universally loved IP, and yes, I think that Meryl Streep just has a chance. I mean, she definitely has a chance for a Golden Globe nomination. And you know what? Maybe SAG does too, and that's more than enough to get Meryl Streep an Oscar nomination. I do have her at number 10 though, for the reasons that I previously mentioned. And then, speaking of Cynthia Erivo, she has a very meaty role in a film called Prima Facie. Could be a thing, but I don't have her in right now. Sandra Hüller in Fatherland could happen definitely, but I have her in for Rose at this moment. And yes, Rose is the film that I'm choosing. I'm predicting Sandra Hüller to get in for. And then Amy Adams at the Sea could happen, but that film didn't get very good reviews. And I mean, she's in a similar situation as with Michelle Williams, where if she's nominated, we have to give her a win. And then, but that doesn't really seems like it's going to be the case. But hey, you never know. And then Daisy Edgar Jones in Sense and Sensibility. I can see 0 nominations for that film, definitely, but she's worth throwing around. And then, what else do we have here? Anne Hathaway for Mother Mary. I watched that a few days ago. I did have my issues with the film overall, but Anne Hathaway gives a spellbinding, bravura performance in that. She's bonkers great in that film. She's firing on all cylinders, and it's a performance that could really transcend even to the Oscars, even though her film is so clearly divisive. I mean, I really don't think that she's going to happen. It's sort of a hope diction there. But then again, I mean, Ana de Armas got in for Blonde, which was an equally divisive film. But then again, she was playing a real life person, and it was a different kind of situation. And it was Netflix, and it was a late release. And yeah, but Anne Hathaway does have the performance. The performance is there. Is the Academy cool enough to nominate her? That's the question. And moving on, well, before moving on, let's just give you my final prediction for my ridiculously early Oscar predictions for Best Actress. So, in alphabetical order, we have Virginie Efira for All of a Sudden, Sandra Hüller, Rose, Julianne Moore for the Jesse Eisenberg musical comedy, Rinko Kikuchi for Ha-chan Shake Your Booty, and Michelle Williams for A Place in Hell. Alright, let's get to Best Actor here. This might just be Tom Cruise's year. He's just such an overdue actor for a competitive Oscar in the acting department, and he has lots of makeup and is playing an older person, and it's just in a Alejandro Iñárritu film, it's just too perfect. It's too perfect. This could just be his moment there. SAG is definitely biting. The Golden Globes, sure. I mean, he's definitely at least a no-brainer nomination, if not a win, at this point. I mean, he really has to drop. The film really does have to suck for him to at least not get in. So no more needs to be said about this one. And then I have John Malkovich for Wild Horse 9. Could he be supporting? I don't think so. I think that Sam Rockwell is going to be frauded at supporting, except if he's not campaigned in lead as well, which would be cool if he really is a co-lead, but we'll see. For now I have John Malkovich, and I'm going to be talking about Wild Horse 9 quite a lot in these acting predictions, because Martin McDonagh's films famously have had multiple acting nominations for his past few films, and it just looks like it's going to be a similar situation here as well. And then Ryan Gosling for Project Hail Mary. Don't have a reason not to include him. I did watch the film. He is Oscar nomination worthy in that. He's the face of the movie. The movie is definitely, I think, getting in picture safely as of this moment. He will have a very good campaign. I can totally see him comfortably getting in at the 5. And then I have Sebastian Stan for Fjord, who got in a few years back for The Apprentice, a really inspired nomination there, and Fjord does seem like it's going to have lots of awards acclaim, and Sebastian Stan is probably going to be very good in that. I assume he's a fantastic actor and really does seem like he's going to be one of the few sort of deja vu actors who recently got in and might get in as well. So at number 5 I had to have a person that had never been nominated. I could have gone with Hans Zieschler for Fatherland, who I have at number 6, but I ended up going with John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. That's a long title there, but he's John Turturro and it's at Sundance Films. I can definitely see the campaign for this one, and I mean, Critics' Choice and the Actor Awards might actually, one of these two might go for him, and I mean, if he gets in at Golden Globes or BAFTA, I mean, he can do it, I think. I've heard that he has the performance and he's such an overdue actor. I mean, John Turturro, no Oscar nominations. I mean, going back to his collaboration with the Coen brothers and even Quiz Show, which I watched recently, and he was really good at that and actually got a Golden Globe nomination. I mean, yes, I mean, it's definitely looking like he's having a moment here, and that's why I'm predicting him at number 5. Could drop off though. And then I have Hans Zieschler at number 6. I already talked about him. He's playing a real life character in a prestigious period film. Not much else to say about how baity and meaty that is. And then number 7 I have Matt Damon for The Odyssey, who could definitely be a thing. I mean, he could be Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another, where I was seriously doubting him, but ended up getting in anywhere. Didn't win anywhere, but he did get in safely and turned out to be a staple of that category, which could happen with Matt Damon as well. But I mean, if Matthew McConaughey couldn't get anywhere, I believe, for Interstellar, this could also be the case for Matt Damon in The Odyssey. Then I have Jafar Jackson for Michael. I think there's going to be gatekeeping for him. He's a newcomer. He's really in a film that might just flop completely at the Oscars. And I do have another actor that I think is going to be a major Oscars player. Again, it's a really transformative performance and really baity, and might get a lot of attention from critics, but there's something about him being a newcomer and the fact that Michael is not a secure Oscar player at all, that just makes me hesitant. I do have him in the 10 though. And then at number 9 I have Brad Pitt for The Riders, which is the new Edward Berger film that I talked about briefly. He's supposed to have a very meaty role and he might be really good in that and get a nomination, not for The Adventures of Cliff Booth. That's a different, that is Cynthia Erivo in Wicked for Good. That's an Ariana Grande in Wicked for Good. That repetition nomination is just, for that film, really does seem near impossible. But Brad Pitt could get in for The Riders. And then at number 5 I have Matthew McConaughey for The Rivals of Messiah King. He's supposed to be really good at that, but that film just could fade completely. Dominic Sessa for Tony. Again, don't know much about that, but he was really good in The Holdovers. Again, a newcomer performance that was gatekept and could happen with Jafar Jackson. Dominic Sessa, really good in that film, The Holdovers, and with Tony he could get his first moment there, but just don't know that much about that. And it's A24, it's not like Neon or something, and not that a studio that isn't, I don't trust that much. And then number 12 I have Paul Dano for The Wizard of the Kremlin. Now hear me out, could just be nothing, 0 at the Oscars, maybe at the Actor Awards or SAG or the Golden Globes, but he could definitely miss out. But my argument here is that if Timothée Chalamet almost, well, that's not completely true because he said those things before, after the voting closed, but if Timothée Chalamet, for his comments about ballet and opera, were enough to have such an impact, I mean such an impact, negative, call me crazy, I think Tarantino's comments about Paul Dano could result in the exact opposite, in lots of positive support for Paul Dano. And I've seen the film, he's really brilliant in that. It's a subtle performance, it's not a big, which it's typical for Paul Dano. I mean, he does both. He's either really subtle, like in The Fabelmans for instance, or really big in The Batman or There Will Be Blood for instance. The Wizard of the Kremlin is one of his more subtle, quieter roles, but I thought that he was brilliant in it. And yes, that internet thing, it's so stupid, but I mean, yes, if the internet has that much of an impact, I can see it working for Paul Dano's favor, and yes, it could happen. And then I have number 13 Robert Aramayo for I Swear. I watched this film, it's a lovely film, but he's extraordinary in that. He's so bonkers brilliant in that, and it could fade. I know that he is a BAFTA winner. He beat Michael B. Jordan at the BAFTA Awards, and that's not nothing, but that was last year. When has a BAFTA winner gotten in at the Oscars the year after? That's really a bizarre situation there, and he could definitely just fade. But he is really, really excellent in that film, and yes, I do think that it's really bizarre, but it's worth throwing out there. And that's because his film wasn't eligible for the previous ceremony, so it's eligible for the 2027 Oscars, so there you go. And then we have Andrew Garfield for Artificial. Long shot there, again, Artificial most likely will be nothing because it's Luca Guadagnino. And remember the one rule about this channel: never predict a Luca Guadagnino film anymore. And then number 15, I have Nicolas Cage for Madden. This could be a comeback for David O. Russell. I really doubt that, but he has lots of makeup. And what is the second rule of this channel? If an actor has makeup, he should definitely be at least mentioned. And Nicolas Cage could get a comeback role. I mean, it does have a prestige sort of he's playing a real life person. I believe it just reads as a possible contender, maybe at SAG. So my ridiculously early Oscar predictions for Best Actor in alphabetical order is Tom Cruise for Digger, Ryan Gosling for Project Hail Mary, John Malkovich for Wild Horse 9, Sebastian Stan for Fjord, and John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor, I have Paul Giamatti at number 1. It's supposed to be a very meaty role. He's such an overdue actor, extraordinary in The Holdovers. Should have won over that lackluster performance from Cillian Murphy that didn't have to win, didn't have to almost sweep. Critics' Choice got right that one. And Paul Giamatti in a Jesse Eisenberg movie, I mean, Kieran Culkin won last year, or the year before last year. Yes, it definitely has, there's something there. There's definitely something there. And then I have Colman Domingo for Michael. That's the performance that I was talking about, getting in for Michael. He has a little bit of makeup, definitely very favorable. And then he has a meaty role in Michael, I believe, and he's previously 2 times Oscar nominated actor. I mean, when are we going to get him an Oscar finally for something? I mean, he was so good in Sing Sing. Haven't seen Rustin, but I mean, again, Michael could be a flop, but he could still get in. And then number 3, I have Sam Rockwell for Wild Horse 9. Yes, he could be frauded for supporting. I mean, if Kieran Culkin could win for a leading performance and so many other category fraud examples, I mean, he deserved that win. Don't get me wrong, the performance was an Oscar worthy, but he wasn't supporting. But Sam Rockwell could be in that case with Wild Horse 9. And then number 4, I have Channing Tatum for Josephine. This could happen. He could just get, along with screenplay and director, at the Oscars for Josephine. But he's also an actor, a very well-respected actor who has done lots of comedy and other more dramatic stuff, and this could be his moment there in Josephine. And I just can't really write off a film with that much acclaim, the acclaim that Josephine has had from festivals. So again, knowing something better than not knowing anything. So number 5, I have Jude Law for The Wizard of the Kremlin, which again I have seen. He's doing enough, I think, to get nominated. He could be sort of an apprentice situation here, where Sebastian Stan got in for playing Donald Trump, so he could get in for playing Vladimir Putin, real life character. He could actually be an Oscar villain in a lot of sense, because the film, I did have my issues with the film. I didn't love the film. I actually thought it was kind of middling, to be honest. But yes, I think, well, not to be honest, I'm always honest. And yes, it was a middling film, and I didn't really connect with it fully, but Jude Law was a scene stealer in that film. He was really good, really baity, and definitely has lots of acclaim potential. The film could blank. He could still get in as a lone nominee. If we don't know what we're doing with Best Supporting Actor and enough people just drop out, he could definitely be a 5th placer here. And then I have John Goodman for Digger. He's supposed to be really good at that. Just know nothing about Digger thus far. I can't predict him. I much prefer to predict Jude Law, whose film I have seen, rather than predict John Goodman, has much more an overdue narrative. Also, hasn't had a single Oscar nomination, which is wild to me. He's such a compelling actor, but I just don't know anything about his role here. It's not like Tom Cruise, who's definitely getting in. I have no idea who's playing and what, and so I can't have him in. And then number 7, I have Daniel Craig for Narnia. Narnia is definitely a picture contender, and Greta Gerwig has had lots of people getting in at acting categories. I mean, all of her films have had 2 or more acting prospects. And I mean, Ryan Gosling got in for a Greta Gerwig film playing Ken, as in the Ken doll. Yes, Daniel Craig playing potentially, I believe, an uncle character here could be the awards, the acting prospect of the film, and him almost getting in for queer, that makes it all the more alluring as a prediction. And then number 8, I have Steve Buscemi for Wild Horse 9. Now either supporting actor or supporting actress is going to get 2 nominations for Wild Horse 9, and right now I have both actresses for the supporting actress category, so I couldn't fit in Steve Buscemi here either. The film can't have, or 5, well, it could have 5 nominations at best, but right now I have Steve Buscemi at number 8. He's also, again, another overdue actor, but it just seems like a role that could be too minor. Like, people are going to try to make him happen, sort of like Adam Sandler in Jay Kelly, who was very appealing, very likable performance there, but didn't make it at the end there. Even though, I mean, his overdue narrative might be stronger than the performance itself, which is always a red flag for me. I mean, you can talk about how overdue an actor is, and that's totally fine, but if the performance isn't there, I'm just not predicting him. And it might be a scene-stealing performance, but right now from the trailers, it just seems that like the actresses are much meatier in the supporting department. And then Jeremy Strong for The Social Reckoning. See there, but yes, I think the comparison between the 2 films might hurt its chances a little bit, but it could also not matter at all because it's a spiritual sequel or whatever that means. And then yes, Jeremy Strong could be a prospect there because he got in supporting actor for The Apprentice, but didn't get in, I should remind you, for the Springsteen film. Yes, playing Bruce Springsteen's manager. We all thought that for some reason he could be co-tailing the Jeremy Allen White performance, but he clearly didn't. So this could be another situation where he misses, and at the same time he's playing a real life character. He's playing Mark Zuckerberg, and he just could co-tail Mikey Madison in that film, who, again, I have her at number 7. I don't think there's this out, but yes, it's very unlikely for me right now. And then number 10, call me crazy, I have preferred Pattinson for Dune Part 3. He was terrific in the drama recently. That was also a very good film. And Dune Part 3, very unlikely to have any acting nominations, not even Timothée Chalamet, who I thought was not even worth mentioning. But Robert Pattinson, there's something about it. I can't explain it. It probably is nothing, but there's something deep in my gut that says that he could pull off a Jacob Elordi in Frankenstein. For some reason, it's just the makeup. He's almost unrecognizable. Could get a Critics' Choice nomination, for instance, and then maybe SAG bites and Golden Globes, and oh, he's in the Oscars, and then we are all really totally shocked. This could happen. He's also kind of overdue, even though he's really young. And yes, for some reason, it's fun to just throw around and some really curveballs there. And hey, if it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, then I was the first to say it. So moving on to Claran Hinds for Cry to Heaven. I tried not to have any nominees for Cry to Heaven because, as I said, the film might not come out, and we also don't know who's playing the lead people in that, the lead characters. It's not been cleared, but he's definitely, I believe, playing the person who's... Well, I'm not going to spoil anything if you don't want to know anything about the premise of the film, not even the premise. But the premise is very good, and he's supposed to have a very, very if he's playing that character and the film comes out and it's very good, he could be coming along for the ride. It's really a meaty role. And then I have Riz Ahmed for Digger. Could be the Digger supporting actor prospect instead of John Goodman. Again, don't know anything about him, so can't have him in. Then Tom Holland for The Odyssey might raise a few eyebrows or sound very ridiculous, but Tom Holland is actually a very good dramatic actor, or actually could be. He was caught up in the Spider-Man, he's great as Spider-Man, I love him in that, but he was also really good in The Impossible as a child actor. Showed lots of acting muscle there, dramatic. Yes, so he could actually be sort of a revelation, which wouldn't be for those who have seen The Impossible, but he really could be, and I'm just not writing him off there. And then at number 16, I have, last but not least, Brendan Fraser for Pressure. Could be his second time after his recent win for The Whale, but again, Pressure could be nothing as well. So my ridiculously early Oscar predictions for Best Supporting Actor in alphabetical order is Colman Domingo for Michael, Paul Giamatti for the J.C. Eisenberg musical comedy, Jude Law for The Wizard of the Kremlin, Sam Rockwell for Wild Horse 9, and Channing Tatum for Josephine. And finally, I have my supporting actress predictions. I have Anne Hathaway at number 1 for The Odyssey. It could not happen. Oh, absolutely, could just get nominated and not win. Again, I think that she should be nominated for Mother Mary, but hey, I mean, it's fine if she gets in for either films. I haven't seen The Odyssey. She might be in a few scenes and not make that much of an impression, but from the trailers, it seems like it's going to be a big dramatic role, and I have to have at least one acting prediction for The Odyssey, so she's a credible one. And then at number 2, I have Mariana Di Girolamo for Wild Horse 9. On paper, Parker Posey seems more like a probability because she's such a beloved actress, has been for quite some time, but she's supposed to not have that much to do. She does a lot of phone acting in the trailer. It seems like her role is going to be limited at that, which is fine. So that's why I have her as well at number 4. But Mariana Di Girolamo, she could be a person who comes in and just steals a film, and she could be sort of one of those fresh faces that really get a lot of attention. Could it be sort of a Sinners situation where Miles Keaton definitely clearly has a better performance, but then Delroy Lindo ends up getting in because he's just so beloved? This could definitely be this situation here as well. But again, I have to have one of these two categories, supporting categories, to have 2 Wild Horse 9 people, and I can't quite fit Steve Buscemi in the actor, so I could squeeze Mariana Di Girolamo in actress supporting, obviously. And then Tao Okamoto for All of a Sudden is my third option. She's supposed to have a really meaty role, a little bit category fraudy because she's sort of a co-lead with Virginia Efira, but all of a sudden, as I said, I'm going out on a limb and assuming that it's a really major contender. I mean, mostly in the top categories. It doesn't have that much of a nominations ceiling. And I have to include some international actresses and actors, and I have to include some people that have never been nominated. And then at number 5, I have Sandra Hüller for Project Hail Mary. No actors have an Oscar clip in their bag the same way that Sandra Hüller does for the karaoke scene in Project Hail Mary. She is so phenomenal in that scene. I mean, she does have scenes and that enrich her character, and that she does have quite a lot to do invisibly. She has to do a lot of really compelling character acting, and really does showcase lots of depth to her character, even though she's clearly supporting. And if Isabella Rossellini could get in for Conclave for really really just fine performance, she was fine in that, and then she got in. Sandra Hüller, definitely, I think she could coattail Ryan Gosling in Project Hail Mary. She's in my 5, and I'm not taking her out until I really just have no other option. And then at number 6, I have Emma Mackey for Narnia. She could also be the acting prospect and not Daniel Craig, but we'll see. She'll have a meaty role for sure as a witch, I believe. And I mean, a witch performance won last year for supporting actress. That is Amy Madigan for Weapons, and she could get in again, fresh face and meaty role in a Greta Gerwig blockbuster. She's so good in Sex Education. I've seen her in that. Seems like a fair assumption to make, and yes, it makes sense for me, and I could fit her in, but I can't take any one of the actresses above her out, but she's definitely on my radar. And then Sophie Okonedo for Mouse. She's supposed to have an Oscar-worthy performance in that film. Lots of acclaim there, and if the film gets in at picture and screenplay, she could actually win. It's that level of acclaim that I've heard for her. The problem is the film is too small. She could definitely happen. She could be a lone nominee. Who knows? Maybe Critics' Choice goes for her, and for some reason, I mean, we just don't know. It's all speculative, and knowing something is better than knowing nothing. I know you've been sick of hearing me say that, but we do know about how good Sophie Okonedo is in Mouse. Again, I have to see the movie for myself to be able to put a stamp on that statement, but she's had lots and lots of acclaim, and I just can't bury my head in the sand and call her sort of a no chance. She's definitely having a chance. She definitely has a chance here. And then I also have Nia Long for Michael. She could definitely get in. She could be the sort of veteran actress, and yes, she just get in. I don't have that much else to add. And then because Michael could flop, that's why she's not my 5. But she's playing, I believe, Michael Jackson's mother. That's a very meaty role there. And then I have Angelina Lookingglass for The Rivals of Amzaya King. She's supposed to be really good at that. She could be sort of a Haley Steinfeld in True Grit, which I recently rewatched, and she's great in that. Such a very good nomination there. And Angelina Lookingglass could definitely coattail Matthew McConaughey and get the film a casting nomination, but I'm just not convinced that The Rivals of Amzaya King is going to be an awards player because of the reasons that I mentioned previously. And then at number 10 I have Hong Chau for Wuthering Heights. Again, not a very likely prediction, but then again, it's one of the few ones that I have seen, and she is Oscar nomination worthy in that film. Again, similar to Sandra Hüller, she does showcase lots of depth and does a lot with her character, even though she doesn't have that much to do on paper. She really does make a deep impression in that film, and she's a previous nominee, and it just could happen. She could also get in without her film getting in at other major or not major categories. So yes, SAG could go for her again. And then I have Elizabeth Debicki for The Adventures of Cliff Booth. I don't think that film is going to happen. It's a Netflix film, but then again, Netflix has major push at the Oscars usually, but only for the films that they pick, and they have other films that they could really push. And she actually might be the most, she could stand out as an original thing about this film, because, you know, it's mostly lots of repetition. It's Brad Pitt's character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as the lead, so she could definitely stand out, and she could be something. And then I have Anna Calder Marshall, who's supposed to be for Queen at Sea, who's supposed to be really good at that film. I haven't seen the film, so I can't comment on that, but she's an older actress. She could have a moment here, coattail Juliette Binoche, and yes, she could definitely, she's on my radar, just not on my 5. And then Penelope Cruz for The Invite, sure, throw her around. And then Daisy Edgar Jones for A Place in Hell, could cocktail Michelle Williams, we'll see. And then finally, well, not finally, but I also have Adele for Cry to Heaven. Call me crazy, insane, but hey, she's going to have her acting debut here, and Lady Gaga got in for a Star is Born. She could pull it off. I mean, and she's one of the safer ones to predict for Cry to Heaven at this point, because we don't know anything about the leads of who's playing it. It's so confusing. But she is definitely not the lady she's supporting. She might just be in one scene and that's it. But I'm just throwing her name around here. I think it's fair. And then Danielle Brooks for If I Go, Will They Miss Me? And all I have to say to that is, if I had legs, I'd kick you. Again, that film really didn't seem like we were really uncompelled about predicting it, and she got everywhere. So Danielle Brooks, I've heard that she's really good in that. So, and she's a previous nominee for a lone nominee at that. So yeah, she could get in. And then Michaela Cole finally for Mother Mary. Now we're hope dicting here. She's really commanding in that film, and opposite Anne Hathaway, I think they're both Oscar-worthy performances, but really easy to ignore that film. Screw you, Academy, for not recognizing some real brave performances there, some brave acting. It takes lots of guts to do the acting that those two actresses do, and instead they're recognizing really period, easily presentable, very awards-friendly performances, which is, I mean, it's changing a little bit, I think, but we're not there yet. So my ridiculously early Oscar predictions for Best Supporting Actress in alphabetical order is Mariana Di Girolamo for Wild Horse 9, Anne Hathaway for The Odyssey, Sandra Hüller for Project Hail Mary, Tao Okamoto for All of a Sudden, and Parker Posey for Wild Horse 9. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching, I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd, for more film-related content and the Awards Expert app for real-time Oscar predictions. Have I forgotten something? Oh, also follow me on Pinterest as well. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.